Hi, welcome to my channel English Audio Stories. Ready for today's English story? Let's go. Morning coffee and a quiet park. David left his small apartment early in the morning. The city was already awake. Cars moved along the street, people hurried to work, and a tram passed with a soft metal sound. The air was cold, but the sky was clear. It felt like a good day. On the corner, there was a little cafe. David went there almost every morning. He liked the warm light inside and the quiet music. When he opened the door, the smell of fresh coffee and baked bread came to him like a hug. "Good morning, David," said the barista with a smile. "Good morning," he answered. "One latte, please." He watched as she prepared his coffee. Milk steamed, the machine made a short, loud noise, and then everything was calm again. She put a small heart in the foam. It made David smile. With the hot cup in his hand, David stepped out of the cafe. The street was still busy, but he did not want to hurry today. It was Saturday, and he had no meetings, no emails, no deadlines. Just time for himself. He decided to walk to the park near the river. The park was not big, but it was his favorite place in the city. There were tall trees, green benches, and a small fountain in the middle. When he turned the last corner and saw the trees in front of him, he already felt more relaxed. The noise of the city slowly stayed behind him, like a radio turned down. David walked along the small path that led to the pond. The ground was still a bit wet from last night's rain, and the grass smelled fresh. Birds were already singing, hopping from branch to branch, as if they were greeting the new day. He found his favorite bench under a tall chestnut tree. The wood felt a little cold, but the air around him was peaceful. David took a slow sip of his latte. The warm taste made him close his eyes for a moment. "This is exactly what I needed," he thought. Then he noticed someone sitting a few meters away. An older woman, maybe around 70, stood near the pond and threw small pieces of bread to the birds. Dozens of pigeons and a few ducks gathered around her. She smiled gently as they ate. The woman looked calm, almost timeless. David watched her for a moment. She seemed completely present in the moment, not thinking about yesterday or tomorrow. After a minute, she turned her head and noticed him. "Oh, good morning," she said with a soft voice. "Good morning," David replied politely. "It's a beautiful day, isn't it?" she added. "Yes, it really is," David said. "I like coming here when I need a quiet moment." The woman nodded. "The park is a good place for that. Birds don't rush anywhere. Maybe we can learn something from them." David smiled. Her words felt simple but true. He took another sip of coffee and felt the morning slow down even more. David stood up from his bench and slowly walked closer to the pond. The woman looked friendly, and the peaceful morning made it easy to start a conversation. When he stopped beside her, the birds calmly continued eating, as if they already knew him. "They trust you," David said with a small smile. The woman laughed quietly. "Maybe. Or maybe they just trust the bread." David chuckled. The air around them felt light and simple. He took a sip of his coffee and looked at the water. Small rings moved across the surface every time a duck dipped its head. "Do you come here often?" he asked. "Almost every day," she answered. "I live nearby, and mornings are my favorite. The world is quieter before it starts running." David nodded. "I work a lot. Sometimes it feels like the day is already too fast before it even begins." The woman looked at him kindly. "Then it's good you came here today. Life isn't only about doing things. It's also about noticing things." David thought about her words, the gentle noise of wings, the smell of wet grass, the warm cup in his hands. He usually didn't pay attention to any of this. "My husband used to tell me," she continued, "that if you don't stop, even beautiful moments walk past you." David smiled softly. "That's true. I think I forget to stop sometimes. That's why mornings like this exist," she said, "to remind us." David leaned against the wooden railing near the pond, holding his warm cup with both hands. The woman continued feeding the birds, but now she spoke more slowly, as if choosing each word with care. "You know," she began, "people often wait for big moments to feel happy. A new job, a holiday, some success. But life mostly happens in these small, quiet minutes." She pointed gently toward the water, where a duck swam in a lazy circle. "This is enough for them, and sometimes it should be enough for us too." David listened closely. Her voice had a calm strength, something he didn't hear very often. "I think I understand," he said. "I spend so much time planning everything that I forget to actually live the things I plan." The woman smiled with a warm softness. "Exactly. We always think happiness is somewhere far ahead, but it's usually right here, sitting next to us, waiting for us to notice it." She placed the last piece of bread on her palm, letting a small bird take it gently. Slow mornings, fresh air, a good cup of coffee. These are small gifts. David looked at his latte. The foam was almost gone, but the cup felt pleasantly warm. "I'm glad I came today," he said quietly. "This morning feels different." "Good," she replied. "Maybe tomorrow you will slow down again." David nodded, feeling something peaceful settle inside him, something he didn't know he needed. The woman brushed crumbs from her hands and gave David one last warm smile. "I should go now," she said. "My daughter is visiting today, but thank you for the company." "Thank you," David replied. "You really made my morning." She nodded gently and began walking toward the park gate, moving slowly, as if she had all the time in the world. The birds followed her for a few steps before returning to the water. David stayed where he was, listening to the soft sounds around him. The fountain, the wings, the quiet wind touching the leaves above. He finished the last sip of his coffee. The city noise was still far away, muted by the trees. For once, he didn't feel the usual pressure to hurry. Instead, he let his steps become calm, almost thoughtful, as he started walking back along the path. A ray of sun slipped through the branches and lit up the pond for a moment. David stopped, noticing how the water glittered like small pieces of glass. Normally, he would walk past it without a second look. Today, he simply stood and breathed. "Life isn't only about doing things," he remembered her saying. "It's also about noticing things." When he reached the exit of the park, he felt lighter, as if someone had quietly removed a weight from his shoulders. The streets were busy again, but now he carried a quiet space inside him, a reminder that mornings could be slow, peaceful, and meaningful. David smiled to himself and whispered, "I'll come again tomorrow." "Great job. You finished the story. Keep listening, keep learning, and don't forget to like and subscribe. See you next time.